Hey guys, we're back with section two of the portfolio, and remember to go and have a look at the introductory video that just helps to explain sections one, two, and three. But the first part of it, like now we're into actually making it. We've tried to outline why there was a need for it. We've tried to brainstorm what areas we would need to investigate. We've tried to establish a criteria of success, and we've tried to make a time, action, and finance plan to help guide us along the way. Now it's time to get creative. So there's a million different ways to be creative, and like I always say, this is just an outline. Again, the must-haves could be totally different, but we'll have a look at the high-level response. I know I put band six in there, but yeah, let's start with the must-haves. So some sort of thought generation, and mind mapping is a really easy way to do it and to show that you've had some sort of thought generation, starting with your idea and just branching off all the things that might come from it. So if we were trying to design, let's go to the folding skateboard because we've been using that as an example. He's going to have, like, you're going to have to think about the materials. You're going to have to think about the design. You're sort of branching off in a mind map, starting with your idea in the middle. Um, Next is the detailed annotated sketches, maybe some storyboarding. Like you could be designing a website or an app or something where a storyboard might be really important. Um, there can be some simple sketches in there, but you're building up. You're trying to end up with some detailed annotated sketches and something that shows that you've gone through the design process and you've shown some progression. In here, we also probably want to see final design drawings, hopefully some pretty high quality. Maybe the start of some modeling, some prototyping, like even if it's just some sample development, pretty simple stuff. Like this isn't actually making your project, but you're being creative, you're testing out things, you're trying to show that you're working towards making the best actual project that you can. Probably like must have. You have to have a degree of difference over what else is on the market, what else is out there. Do some analysis on that. What makes your product different? Why would it stand out? Um, Evaluated research of existing designs. So it's kind of these two tying together. Sometimes students will do these as two different headings, but you got to look at the existing designs. To be honest, if you're a designer, you kind of before you have this brainstorm moment or light bulb moment right at the beginning and you think I've got this great idea. Seriously, go and have a look and see if there's anything that's already been done or if you can actually do something different, if you can be innovative in this area. So I probably should have said it at the start, but check your existing designs. Probably not so important to do a good HSC major design project, but as a real designer, you need to actually make sure that it doesn't already exist or you've just wasted a whole heap of time. And of course, an evaluation on the end. So let's have a look at the high level response. Demonstrates the substantial application of creativity in the development of the MDP. So you've demonstrated, you've shown that you've done it. It's substantial. You've like really gone through. You've done. Again, I'm not going to go over all of this, but you've done idea generation. You've done some rough sketches. You've tried some prototypes. Maybe you've made some storyboards, some mind maps. Maybe there's a flow chart depending on what your design might be. And yeah, please pause the video, have a look. Mind mapping, brainstorming, things like future wheels, concept boards, PMI tables, all this stuff can be really important. Going through your drawing and your sketching really doesn't hurt to get the old pencil out and to start sketching and trying to get things out of your mind. It's the traditional way that a designer worked to be able to do that sort of stuff, all the way through to maybe your working drawings, maybe showing some model development, some evaluation. Maybe you're just playing with something like cardboard or plasticine or foam core or something really simple, maybe some EPS foam. But you're trying to come up with things. Say it was a product, you're trying to come up with a form study, maybe a model, maybe like a working prototype, some different samples if you were designing something different. So it can be really important. Again, your degree of difference here, it's all written there for you. Your exploration of existing ideas, again, a few ideas that might help you to do that. I know if I'm designing something, I'm definitely if the end goal is that it's like marketable and you want to make some money, I'm probably checking for existing patents and things like that. HSC comments, better responses, candidates displayed a range of ideas and showed creativity in their design concepts and thought development process. Model production, so we mentioned that, and use of technology. So like you got some early CAD in here, maybe CAD could come in later, maybe you come up with a final design in here and it's all, beautiful, and you've got dimensions on it, you've got an orthographic layout. Like this can be the section where you can show what it is that you're actually going to make in the evidence of creativity. A little bit of that could also be included a bit later on, but yeah, generally I hope that students try to get to almost a finished design. This is what I'm going to make in this section. And an analysis is always big in the HSC of a broad range of existing ideas that assist in realizing the product, system, or environment. So you might have invented something, it might be brand new, there might not be anything that's the same. But you can go and look at things that have similar sort of aspects to them, similar sort of features, and you can analyze those. So that is how you do it. Let's have a quick look at the skateboard sample. So he has started with lots of just thinking. How is this thing going to work? You can read that if you want to pause and have a look. Obviously, thought the locking mechanism was super important. How's it going to work? I remember this student pretty well and trying to think about how this thing's going to fold and then lock. Like it was pretty high level stuff. It was just simple engineering, but it needed to go through so many different idea generation things to try and come up with the one that would actually work. And to be honest, I think it probably took 3 or 4 months of just thinking and writing down different things and trying different designs and making different prototypes before he actually came up with something that could functionally work. So again, simple sketches. Believe me, no one thinks you're going to be an amazing sketcher. Industrial designers go and they sketch for 12 months and then their entire career to become good at sketching. It's totally understood that sketching's not easy, but making something that kind of the person who's going to market or the person that's going to look at it can understand is important, and annotations are a big part of that. Really starting to try and, whether you're the best sketcher in the world or not, but trying to explain exactly what it is that you're doing. Usually going through that range, like they're starting to get a little bit better. There's an explanation, a written explanation, just so you understand. There's annotations. Looking at whatever this part was, it ended up being a quick lock sort of mechanism that you did have to unscrew a bolt, I think, in the end. And justification, so you're justifying all the way through. The drawings are getting better, definitely, no doubt about that. And starting to really get into, okay, I've done all this brainstorming up the top. Now I've kind of got an idea. This is probably how it's going to work. Again, to be honest, I think this was done much later in the project. He'd already gone into further sections, so he was already going ahead in the design of the product because he hadn't quite got to this point yet. And, he's spending time in the workshop, he's spending time thinking. He's probably come back and put this in. But getting into like higher quality drawings, we're not all going to be able to get to this level. He was actually not a bad drawer. He started to get it to a pretty good level, but really trying. And don't ever think that your drawings aren't good enough. As long as you're explaining them and you're putting in arrows, you're trying to show what this bit is and what that bit is, then you're doing a good job. Going through CAD, I know the student started with SketchUp. Obviously, limitations with SketchUp when you're doing circles and figuring things out. And you can see just by looking at it if you know SketchUp that there's a few things that he could have done to make it a bit more solid and make it look a bit better, but not the easiest program for necessarily for designing a product. But still, if SketchUp's all you got, you can still show pretty good things there, and it's probably not going to get you to the highest level, but people will still really appreciate it that you've gone into CAD and you put in a whole heap of effort trying to get your ideas down on paper. Switch to Fusion 360, a little bit better for when you're doing round stuff. You're trying to like concave the wheels and you're trying to make it a little bit more presentable. Came up with the final design, pretty much what he was going to do at the end, and even just like a advertising poster, just something final. It really shows the product in the end. So that was probably a good part of this project. So he's already up to 30 of the 80 pages here, getting through the main part of the design process and the creativity process. And then, yeah, showing dimensions. It's great. I think it used to be thought, whether it still is or not, or what the current thinking is, but it used to be thought you have to show dimensions, you have to, go it all the way down to a orthographic, show all the different views. It's awesome, but I don't think to get full marks in this section that I don't think anyone's going to say that you have to do that, but it's certainly not going to hurt if you have gone to that point. So evidence of creativity, remembering there's always evaluations at the end. There's model development, so it's still going on. Just working with bits of plywood. I mean, early on he was working with bits of foam core and bits of cardboard, just trying to make sense of the whole thing. It's like a genuine design process. It's what a designer would do. Like even just putting mock-ups of this is like maybe the size of the wheel, but I don't have the wheels yet, and doing stuff like that. And a bit of 3D printing, trying to figure out what was happening with the locking mechanisms. There are different ways to do it. Even I don't think he had any skateboard wheels at this stage, so I just chopped some skateboard wheels out of plywood. And could it work like this? And this like probably eventually turned into the steel prototype. But looking and thinking is the main area of this, and just playing around. Like I said, even some foam board, it's kind of replicated the dimensions of the steel components that he might use later on, which was pretty cool. And obviously at this stage didn't have any proper hinges, so he just managed to find some brass hinges off a cabinet or something. And yeah, just you need to do that to be really thinking about it. And then a few different models, starting to finalize the design. This is not going to be functional at all, but I was thinking, oh well, that could be the size of that could be the size of that, this could work like that. And going through a real design process. The degree of difference obviously was pretty important. Looking at existing designs, this is why mine's different. Chucked in his old mind map there. Here's some existing boards, so existing designs, positives, negatives, and so on. So in the end, it kind of ended up towards about half the folio before he got through the creativity, which maybe is a little bit too much. Maybe there was a bit much at the start, identification of need, but you can't doubt that if we go back and have a look, this particular student, have they hit the red words? Sorry about that. Demonstrates, yep, he's certainly shown it. Substantial, for sure. He's demonstrated creativity. It's been substantial. He's gone through the entire thing, everything that he's possibly listed here, and probably more. He's done it. So how could you not be, right up the top if you do that? So evidence of creativity. There's so much more that you can do, and please search up creative techniques on Google or whatever, and look at some different creative techniques, see what works for you. Just make sure that you're mapping everything and that you're saying what your creative techniques were. So evidence of creativity. Thanks, guys. Go check out the initial video, introductory video, just to make it all fit together for you. Thanks.